Good morning. Our hand today is going to be 9-8. In this hand, we start with 2 limps and then I isolate. Both of them call. So both of them don't really have a whole lot of hands. This is a 25 NL game. This guy's 50% so far out of 12 hands, and it is 6 out of 12. His limp first in stats, 3 out of 6. But he calls 2 bets. This guy's here to play hands, so I'm kind of giving him something like this. I'm gonna say that he probably would raise queens to aces, ace king. I think most people do, but he's got this massive range here. And in terms of does he fold any of these? I don't think so. A player that's limping like this probably doesn't fold a lot of these hands. He wants to see a flop. That's why he's limping in the first place. So I'm going to keep his range here. Second player's at 19-7, much tighter. He does have some pre-flop raises from mid position in the cutoff. Here he decides to limp. He has some limp first ins in early position, mid position. Maybe that's his strategy when he's in early position, a limp instead of raise. Limp with previous callers, he hasn't done this. So I kind of think he's going to be more like speculative hands, something like this, since there's always a player in there. We might be able to say that he would raise a little bit more, maybe jacks plus ace king with the ace king. Brings his percentages down to 14%, but I think you've got your pocket pairs, some of your broadways, and so forth. For me, I am going for isolation raises. So you've got the always in the optional. I think we expand and go to the optional because villain, at least this villain's going to have a lot of hands in his range that he's going to have to get rid of at some point. So I kind of like adding these extra hands, and even if we connect in a big way, let's say some sort of straight, there's going to be a lot of cards that connect that'll probably get him to pay at least one, maybe even 2 streets, hopefully 3 streets. So we go forward on the flop of 8-4-3. So we flop our top pair here. So we're going to assume players are going to be checking to us and just kind of figure out what are we going to bet. This is a board that's a little bit better drawing. We've got some flush draws. We do have some straight draws as well. I think those are going to be gut shot draws. That gives us at 12%. And then we've got some value hands. So if we go for the overpair, we're at, overpair plus, we're at 29% versus 12%. I think we're going to need some more hands here. Probably some more hands to balance. Maybe your 2-card backdoor flush draws. That gets us up to 24. If we did half of that at 12, that gets us to 36 total, 36% C bet. That's probably okay. However, I think we're going to need a couple more of these bluffs. So that's where I think we're kind of getting a semi bluff from some of our top pair hands, and the pocket pairs less than the top card. I think those aren't necessarily checking. I think we could throw them into our balance range because we know that if we connect, that's an improvement, but we're trying to bet to get out like ace king, king queen. We can buy some equity, and I think we could buy some equity. We've got a fold to C bet out of position, 1 out of 1. He also is fold to C bet 1 out of 1. This is a board that's probably unlikely to hit anyone super hard. I think we attack. I think we're going to have to add a couple more. It might be good not to have the aces here that we're betting. Just because it leaves aces in other players' hands. But on the flip side is if they do have an ace, it makes the ace X hands less likely. So maybe something about like this is what we could play. Maybe those. All right, so that could be a C betting range. That's at 91%. we do have a tighter range. We should be ahead, right? 42%. Let's make a C bet here of probably half pot. This is kind of in between. I mean, it may be 2/3. Go up to 2/3 and attack them. So I bet I did half pot. I did half pot. My guess is it's probably going to be split 1/3 or 2/3, and half pot's probably the worst. I think I might lean more towards the 2/3 just to try to generate more fold equity. So I did c-bet, which is good, and then villain 3 folds. So this guy folds with the bigger range. This guy calls. He's calling at, let's give him all the pairs. Let's give him the gut shots. So at this point, we got 36%. We're going to be likely behind. I think we may need to improve. But he does have flush draws, so out of all of his calls, 15% of them are hearts. King of Diamonds comes out. I actually think that's a pretty good card for us. Villain checks. I'd say we probably continue betting our flush draw. We probably continue betting our gut shot. Maybe our gut shot. Our value range is probably adding overpair. Maybe not all. Turn that off. Maybe not all of our top pair hands. Ace King. I think we've got. You hate to give him a free draw to the heart. I think. So we're at 18%. We're going to need to find more of these, and maybe these middle pairs and the pocket pair less than the top card gets us to 26, and then that means that we can kind of add these kings, maybe not all of the kings. I think we probably keep like queens, like one of those pocket pairs, big pocket pairs. Did I do it? It didn't. Let's get that. This changes things. So we lost some hands, but I think it's the same general idea. So I think that's kind of our c-bet. So like a 9-8, we're not betting for value anymore. I think we're making this more of a bluff. So I did half pot. He called. What is he calling with? So at this point, I think it's gonna have to be maybe, well, definitely the flush draw. Gut shot, I'm gonna say probably not. Probably not, and I don't think any of these underpairs. I think at this point the king's probably gonna fold for this amount. So I could be wrong, but top pair now, out of all of the hands that he calls, 50% is a flush draw. 5 connects. I think we just check behind and take the showdown at this point, at least with our hand. So we did bet. We've got the 5 of clubs. So I think we go, when we look at his calling range, if he were to only call top pair plus, it's 68% and 47% is a set. So that means then we're not betting our top pair. We're not betting our overpair. We're going to probably be betting sets and straights. That's going to be our bet for value. And then some of our nothing hands. That could be a little too many, with all of our ace high. And I'm not even sure I want to do that with the hearts. I think it benefits us for not to have a heart. So I think like 7s could be the bluffing hand. We turn 7s into a bluff. But we still have value with 7s because, he's got a top pair. I don't think he's folding top pair, but I think he's heavy on his flushes. So villain checks. I check behind. I'm glad I checked behind. He shows 7-8. I show 9-8. So it actually surprised me a little bit because we didn't have that 9-8 in his range. Or 7-8 in his range. So let's see where we went. Right there, middle pair. So we assumed he would have folded those. My guess is he would have continued calling those. So that changes our value bet hands. So since he has all of those, when we think about hands that he has, it's a possibility that he calls all of those because he doesn't believe that we have a pair. And if that's the case, then that really changes it. Now we're betting for value our overpair. We're betting our top pair hands. I think we're betting our pocket pair less than the top card. The middle pair, I think, is when we start to check. And then that means we could probably go ahead and bluff some of those. But, he's at 88%. I don't think we're getting the folds that we need. So I don't even know if we bluff here. I think it's just pure value. Pure value. Yeah, we're straightforward, but I don't think some of these players are really paying attention to it. Since they called with that 8 twice on, like, a king comes out. I mean, yeah, I could be playing the heart, so I understand why he called. But if he calls again, which he probably doesn't. So, I mean, to be honest, facing triple barrel, I just think he probably gives up on those hands. So I think we're down to like 9-10 in the top pair, and that means we're not going to be betting. You're probably not betting our queens. We're sticking with our top pair plus hands, and maybe not even all of them. So back down to like ace, king, king, queen, and so forth. So that's the hand. I had some notes here. I didn't want to look at them because we had such few hands, but let's just kind of take some notes. Limp behind. EP, LFI, and call. Hijack. I did a 6 big blind ISO with 8-7 of clubs. He is out of position. Check call 50%. Check call 50%. Check on 8 of hearts, 4 hearts, 3 clubs, king of diamonds, 5 of clubs. All right, took the notes. So not too bad. Played it aggressively. I think based on our hands, we do turn some of these hands into bluffs just because we need that balance, and we don't have a huge number of bluffs once that king comes out. As I said, it's probably better not to have the hearts and any heart in our bluffing range because that increases the chance that he has a heart. So anyways, hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.